Hey, brothers and sisters, what's up? This is the Reluctant Nabi back again. And this is going to be some serious truths that brothers better look at. And understand that now, right now, more than any other point in our history, we as Afro men have allies. The sad part about this is our allies for good Afro men, the men that's always been trying to stand up, is not the BW, it's not her simps. It is other Caucasian men, white women, Hispanic men, and women. And the people we better side eye is the ones coming from out of our own community who's been setting us up for the takedown for a long time. The ones that we feel that we can trust the least, the BAW, the so-called queen of the community, we got to watch our backs because history has shown us that they've been looking to stab us in the back rather than have our back as they claim. The other thing history has shown us is from Fred Hampton to Haiti's Jovenel Moise. The U.S. has a very bloody history when it comes to Afro men of the people. And let me say this. What in the hell is going on in Haiti? It's a question that a brother asked, and then I answered in a way with the obvious. And we already understand the obvious because we've seen anyone that spoke against the corporations that's putting out that Fauci juice got eliminated. All right. And it's funny how no other leaders got eliminated except the ones that came out and spoke that. It's funny how no other leaders came down and got sick and died from anything but the ones that came out and spoke against the corporations of the United States who makes poisons that people are now getting in their bodies. The people that speak against that, well, you're no longer allowed to speak against that. Right? So we know the what. This is going to examine the how by way of the U.S. history against Afro men of the people, by way of people like the Democrats and Joe Biden. Now, I'm going to say this, even though many more people can be implicated, but we're looking specifically at them because I can't accuse the Republicans for something that the Democrats did. Oh, I have problems with the Republicans, but this is not one of them. All right? So, without all the fanfare, music, and everything, because of how serious this is, first let me remind you, this is my other channel, new channel. All the videos that you missed will be posted back up here, or you can go to Odyssey, and I'll put the link to my channel on Odyssey in the description box, and you can see all my videos, even the ones that YouTube struck and took down. They're all on Odyssey. All right. So to donate to my channel, if you want to help me with what I do, my PayPal me and my Cash App link will be in the description box. Now, y'all need to pay close attention to what I am about to present to you. All right. Pay close attention and then use your own heads and think. Look at the charts that I'm going to show you. Listen to the report from Democracy Now! And pay attention. First, let me greet everybody before we get started. Hovorten harduguda, ola oitebang, vasas los, bonjour mes amis, ketabawani konnichiwa, niha niama, sani bonani, jumbo habaragani, assalamu alaikum, and shalom. And brothers, y'all need to start sharing these videos other than 3 people. All right, so y'all can share better than that, and thumbs up. These things are important for us to look at as a group of men. So it saddens me when men don't share this video, but if I put up a video complaining about some big booty woman, they share that video. It starts with us. So please share this video. If you share this video more than the big booty video, because even this one still wanting to be asleep, thinking they woke, they might look at this and get some information and understand our bloody history in the United States and the bloody history of people outside of the United States. Now, again, let's start here. The documentary by Dennis Mueller and Deb Ellis. What is the goal of the United States even now? Prevent the coalition of a militant black nationalist groups, whether it be in the United States or outside of it. Why? Because they don't want these people speaking against the United States' goal of perhaps poisoning everyone. All right? Prevent the rise of a messiah who could unify, electrify the militant and black nationalist movements. Now, understand this. When they say anything, all right, they are the ones that label and name people and then define it. So we need to stop listening to their labels and stop listening to Joe Biden's, the Democrats, or their media label of people. Nobody is really, this is the only country that will call an elected president, that's Afro, a dictator. But look at what the Democrats are right now. They're literally dictators. Joe Biden is literally a dictator. Anytime you get rid of the Constitution, you are a dictator, meaning you're dictating policy, and you have wiped the courts clean and everything, and you got a few people that says the courts don't matter. They didn't matter in the election. The courts don't matter. The other political party don't matter. You are a dictator. The United States have the only dictator right now. All right? Prevent militant black nationalist groups and leaders from gaining respectability and discredit them to the community. How do they do that? Through the media. The media are out and outright liars. But who controls the media? The dictators in the United States. The media, YouTube, Google and Facebook, and Twitter, they tell you what you can and cannot say because they're run by dictators. All right? And then all these people that are being assassinated, attempted assassinated, or being deleted from Earth, probably by the U.S., all right? Before they delete, the U.S. delete them, they get our media to label them as dictators so that it looks justified. And then the United States put or prop up people that are weak, usually a woman, and when we're talking about in these third world, a woman or a sellout, right? Usually the wife of that leader. That ought to give you reason to pause. Think about it. All right? They usually prop them up to be the new leaders because they control them. Just like they control the BWs inside the United States. Oh, a final goal should be to prevent the long-range growth of a militant black nationalist organization, especially among the youth. Excerpts from the FBI COINTELPRO.
This country has never cared about black people. Right. They don't give two damns about us. And all of us always turn around worrying about what's good for America, what's good later for America, what's good for black people.
Right. So this is why it's important for you brothers to start sharing these videos. These have to start being the most viewed videos, because until they're the most viewed videos from the perspective of Afro people, we will never be respected. I'm respected anywhere I go, but we as a people are not respected because we'll share buffoonery before we'll share this, because we're not looking out for our people. All right. And looking out for ourselves, looking out for Afro people is what's good for America as a whole. And it's sad that a bunch of white dudes are starting to realize that, who are conservative white dudes, mind you. It's sad that it's a bunch of white conservative women who are starting to realize that we are the key. So if they can realize it, when are we going to realize it? What Trump showed them was there were more conservative Afro people than they thought. So then they're saying, oh, wow, so they do think about these things. They do care about the country. However, they also care about their history and how the country has treated them. While I was in Santa Marta, I met some brothers. Well, white guys, but I call them brothers. You know, we from the U.S. here. All right, I met them there, and we was having this conversation. They didn't actually know what went into lynching. They didn't know about buck breaking. They didn't know about buck breaking. A lot of white people think what they think about America because their history, our history has been hidden from them. Because we don't sit down and have the conversation when they're yelling, wait a minute, do you know what buck breaking is? What do you mean? Yeah, I heard about it. And then you explain the details. They're like, oh, I didn't know that's what they did. See, they don't know that when an Afro man was lynched, they cut off his groins. They cut off the ability to procreate. Well, they was going to take his life anyway. And some of the times, that's how they took his life. They let him bleed out. They emphasized this in Django, if you weren't paying attention. All right? Buck breaking, taking a strong Afro man, beating him to an inch of his life, and then taking somebody, a slave master from the LGBT line of thinking, and sodomizing that guy. That's what buck breaking was. This is the stuff that the Caucasians in the education system or indoctrination system wanted to keep from even the white people, because they understood that if the lay white person understood this, they would not be happy about it or against it. Because they think they're better than this. And some of them are. Most of them are, I would say. But the ones that aren't better than this are the ones running things.
I know what they're going to say, not guilty. Because no one saw them pull the trigger. I'm tired of that. Don't bow down anymore. Hold your heads up. Now, freedom now. I don't want to have to go to another anymore. I had a children. I love it. Stand up.
We must also realize that the problems of racial injustice and economic injustice cannot be solved without a radical redistribution of political and economic power.
If you can't do for yourself what the white man is doing for himself, don't say you're equal with the white man. If you can't set up a factory like he sets up a factory, don't talk that old equality.
All right. So here you have it. Now understand what all of these leaders have in common. If you look down at the bottom, they were assassinated. That's what they have in common. They were assassinated. By who? Our government. Yes, the United States government assassinated them. Infiltration and assassination, COINTELPRO. So where else do we see this playing out? All right. First of all, Democracy Now! This is where I got my speeches, all the speeches of Malcolm X, and I tried to put them up on my channel, and they kept getting struck for copyright even though I owned them. Right? I own the original speeches from the speech itself. I'll try to put them back up on this channel. All right? But I want y'all to pay attention to this.
This is Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, The Quarantine Report. I'm Amy Goodman with Juan Gonzalez. As Black History Month begins today, we look back at the assassination of Black Panther leader Fred Hampton in Chicago 51 years ago.
Fred Hampton, down at the bottom, to your bottom left.
And how new documents reveal more details about the FBI's role in the murder of the 21-year-old revolutionary. Fred Hampton was killed December 4th, 1969, when Chicago police raided his apartment and shot and killed him in his own bed. Black Panther leader Mark Clark was also killed by police in that raid.
Shot and killed in his own bed. Jovenel Moise, shot and killed in his own house, probably in his own bed. Funny how the wife make it out with just a graze on the arm. Glad she made it. Y'all know she's considering running for president, right?
Authorities initially claimed that Panthers had opened fire on the police who were there to serve a search warrant for weapons. Evidence later emerged that told a very different story. The FBI, the Cook County State's Attorney's Office, and Chicago police had conspired to assassinate Fred Hampton. Now, several hundred pages of FBI memos and reports obtained by historian and writer Aaron Leonard through a Freedom of Information Act request document that the director of the FBI's Domestic Intelligence Division, William Sullivan, and the head of the extremist section of the Domestic Intelligence Division, George Moore, both played key roles in planning the raid and the cover-up that followed. For more on what these documents say, we're joined by Flint Taylor and Jeff Haas, founding members of the People's Law Office in Chicago, who are the lead lawyers in the landmark Fred Hampton and Mark Clark civil rights case. Their new piece for Truth Out is headlined, "New Documents Suggest J. Edgar Hoover Was Involved in Fred Hampton's Murder." Jeff Haas, let's begin with you. You wrote a book about Fred Hampton. Talk about what these new documents show and what you see as the smoking gun of J. Edgar Hoover's direct involvement.
Thank you, Amy. Well, first of all, it's 51 years after the incident and 40-some years after the trial. We had never gotten these documents before. But what they showed was that Hoover and Sullivan and Moore were following Roy Mitchell, a special agent in charge, very closely with regard to O'Neill. And they were complimenting him and rewarding him from the moment he gave the information and the floor plan to Special Agent Mitchell. They were congratulating Mitchell on what a wonderful job he did with this informant. Of course, Mitchell got the floor plan, gave it to the Hands police, and that's what led to the raid.
So, I have this saying that often we are done in by weak men. Often we are betrayed by weak men. The other thing is, often we are betrayed by BWs because we don't understand their lust for power, not over the Caucasians, but their lust for power and worship from us, but power over us, the Afro men. If we can build something, many BWs, if it's big enough, will go and help the Caucasian tear that good man down so that they can receive power from that. A lot of men can't raise their children because the child's mom is trying to prove a point that she don't need no man. So she intentionally strips that child of a father. Then why that child rebels, or even worse, have hatred towards that mom when they get older. See, these women, while they're lying now, don't understand the depth of how that lie can backfire on them later, even if it's much later.
The floor plan even showed the bed where Hampton and Johnson would be sleeping. So we knew much of this. We knew O'Neill had gotten a bonus. We never knew Mitchell got a bonus. And we never knew that Hoover and Sullivan and Moore were starting to watch this in November, but 10 days before it happened. They were monitoring exactly what went on. And so it was approved at the highest level. And during the trial, we had sought to go up to Sullivan and Moore and Hoover, but the judge wouldn't allow us, and we thought perhaps even John Mitchell and Richard Nixon were involved. We didn't have these documents, so we couldn't uncover that. This also shows that after the raid, the head of the FBI in Chicago met with and congratulated the informant O'Neill, thanked him for his information, which led to the success of the raid. What's also interesting is 51 years later, these documents still have redactions. There's a specific redaction because an FBI agent had been called in front of a grand jury, and he was told, if you get asked any questions about blank, which is the FBI, leave the grand jury and report to your higher-ups. A year after the raid, the FBI role and COINTELPRO had never been disclosed. It was only about Hanrahan and the police. So it took us 13 years to uncover that it was COINTELPRO, a program whose objective was disrupt, destroy, and neutralize the Panthers, and specifically prevent the rise of a black messiah like Fred Hampton, who could unify and electrify the masses. It was this FBI program that led to the passing of the floor plan and the 90 shots and Fred Hampton executed in his bed at 2:30 in the morning on December 4th.
Executed in his bed. Jovenel Moise executed in his house, probably in his bed. Eerily similar. Okay, I would like for people to take a look at the bed and understand that the police was able to lie and say that the man that they fired 90 shots at, you see the bullets in the wall, the bullet holes all over the walls and in the bed, with whom they shot in the bed, actually came out and fired at them first. And for a while, the mass public, because of the media, the newspaper, and the government, who all decided to cover this up, right, had people believing that Fred Hampton came out, or at least people questioning that Fred Hampton came out firing first when they shot the man in his bed. And only all these years later do we actually understand the truth, and some people still believe the lie. So what do you think is going on with this new stuff that they're lying about now, that with this juice that everybody's starting to get sick with? Think about this. Or these leaders being shot in their homes. Think about it. What do you think is going on? What lie are you believing? The government is opening their mouth, so it's a lie. The media is opening their mouth, so it's probably a lie. Think about it. Look at how giddy and happy the police are. Smiles on their faces for assassinating a leader. This is why Afro people don't trust the police, for any Caucasian that's looking at this. We don't trust the police. We don't trust any medicine coming out of the federal government. And now, because of the federal government and because the doctors were so complacent in this new round of just BS, we don't trust them or anybody anymore in an official capacity that we don't know personally. And they were rewarded for assassinating Afro people. This is your government at work. Now, pay attention to this, brother.
Hey, yo, what the hell is going on? This is Andry Rajoelina. He's the president of Madagascar. And on Thursday, July 22nd, 2021, he survived an assassination attempt. This is Jovenel Moise, the former president of Haiti. And on July 7th, 2021, he was assassinated in his home. This is John Magufuli, the former president of Tanzania. And on March 17th, 2021, he died. This is Hamed Bakayoko, the former president of the Ivory Coast. And on March 10th, 2021, he died. This is Ambrose Dlamini. He was the former prime minister of Eswatini. And on December 13th, 2020, he died. This is Pierre Nkurunziza, the former president of Burundi. And on June 8th, 2020, he died. Make it make sense.
Okay, so I'm gonna make it make sense. The same way they had the thing for the COINTELPRO, they did this. All right. Only these are the new Black Panthers, the people that spoke up and said to the United States, we didn't need your help with this new global issue. We got it. How well that they have it, I'm going to illustrate for you right now. The reason why Haiti said it didn't need United States help, because even though we're finding out that the United States inflated everything, that they changed everything to make everything look inflated, in Haiti, they took real cases and they went and real recovered and real mortality from this current crisis. All right. The other thing about this is that while our government lied along with the corporations and along with the media about everything, while they changed the rules at the CDC for everything, to the point, even the CDC, who said they followed the WHO, and that was until the WHO was forced to tell the truth because of what everybody else was going through. Because of that, Haiti said we didn't have a problem, and they were able to illustrate it. But the other guys, they didn't have a problem either. If you look at this, we're talking about the Ivory Coast and Tanzania, so that's Liberia. Oh, these are the leaders that they're talking about. Who Tanzania had a 1.04 deaths per million. They were doing, all these people were doing well, was handling it well without shutting down their people or stripping people of their rights. And they said, no, thank you to the United States. You can't do that. So like COINTELPRO. So with all that going on, you now have another weird thing going on. And that is how the wife of the former president is now being set up to run for office. Now, isn't that funny? Too many coincidences. Scripturally, it warns you so-called Christians that it'll be time to sell your cloaks for swords. For brothers who are Hebrews, we're supposed to stand against this. We now have allies within the Caucasian community because they are seeing what we've always known, that the government that we have is treacherous, run by elites who will sell us out at a dime or for a dime. So what do you think about it? Let me hear about it in the comments section. With that said, I'm out.